when Catherine asked me to do this video, the first thing I wanted to do, I don't care, I don't know who will ever see this, but I do hope that if one person sees it, it'll raise some sort of awareness for lupus and for what a lot of people call the invisible diseases, which is like fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, MS, depression, anxiety. Those are what we consider the invisible diseases, and unless it's something big like the big C word like cancer, most people don't really know it, and a lot of people think, oh, you're just faking it, or you know, oh, why can't you just do this? Why can't you just be who you used to be? Believe me, if I could be the person that I used to be, I would in a heartbeat. I was strong, I was athletic. I set records in junior high and high school in track. If I could do that still, I would. Unfortunately, my body has other ideas. I am 40 years old with the knees and joints of an 80-year-old, I was told. I have more friends, basically, that are doctors that I consider my friends because I see them more than my friends than I do actual friends. I'm not okay with that. But the biggest thing I want to do is have just one person understand that if you have lupus, if you have Lyme, if you have, you know, fibromyalgia is a big, big one nowadays. Just be a little understanding, because we have a bigger fight than you guys ever could imagine. And if you know somebody with lupus or Lyme or, like I said, any of those invisible diseases, most of them, they don't want your pity. I'm not saying all of us don't. I don't. I don't ever want anybody's pity. Sometimes we just need a hug and maybe a little understanding, because like I've said over and over, we have good days, but we have a lot of bad days too. And I don't want pity. I don't want, oh, I'm so sorry. I just want someone to say, I understand, and it's okay with me. And a hug. I like hugs.
When did you first find out that you had lupus?
I'd been sick for a long time, and the biggest thing I want to do is to raise awareness that not everybody's crazy. That's the first thing I want to say. My doctors first told me for almost 10 years that because I had depression, that I wasn't sick, that it was all in my head. And then I kept getting sicker. And I've had 15 surgeries, and still it was all in my head. And then in 2006, I saw a doctor, and he asked me if I ever had been tested for lupus. And I said, nope. A week later, I get a phone call with good news and bad news, he says. The good news is I'm not crazy. The bad news is that I have lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune disease that attacks your healthy tissues and your muscles, your organs. Most of the time it attacks the stomach, the heart, the kidneys, and then it'll go into the spinal cord and start attacking you neurologically. The biggest, most prominent is joint issues. When I have what we call flare-ups. Flare-ups is when the lupus basically flares up. It goes crazy. It just attacks everything. And most days it's hard to even get out of bed. But I have to live. I have a life. I had to raise 3 children basically on my own from the day that I was sick. till now. They're amazing children. They were very understanding of my illness, and I can never repay them for that. There's tough days. Like I said, there's days that when the lupus flares up, you can't move. Your body just will not let you. Because what happens is, like I said, with the type of lupus that I have, it's called SLE. It's systemic lupus erythematosus. And that means that for some reason, my cells, my healthy cells, my white cells that are supposed to protect me, for some reason, my brain has told them that my other tissue is foreign, so they attack it. And one of the biggest things that helps with lupus is anti-inflammatories called prednisone. But unfortunately, you can only take those for short durations because of the effects that it can leave on your body. It actually can weaken your immune system even more. And when you have lupus, you don't want to weaken your immune system any more than it already is. Because for some reason, like I said, your white cells are already fighting other things, so then it can't fight everything. So you tend to get sick a lot. There's good days and there's bad days. The winter in Maine, you get a lot of bad days. Between the cold air, it just turns it bitter for most people. A healthy person will even say winters are harsh, but a person with lupus, their winter is excruciating. Another cool fact about lupus is it lowers your body temperature, or it can lower your body temperature. So my normal body temperature is 96 degrees, where a normal human's body temperature is 98.6. So I get cold very quickly. And my blood pressure is very low because my heart pumps so fast because of the lupus. As the lupus progresses, you actually become, unfortunately, I don't want to cry, you become allergic to the sun. And the bright lights hurt your eyes. And as the lupus progresses, you'll start getting rashes on your skin because your body just can't handle the UV anymore. That's going to be a sad day for me because I like being outdoors. There's a lot of sad days when you have lupus because the things that you used to be able to do, you no longer can. You take for granted being able to walk across the floor, to be able to get up from a chair, to write. With lupus, you start to lose that, and you hold on to it and you take it for granted, and you be thankful for the days that are good and that you can get up and you can do housework and you can go outside. But I was grateful because I got to play with my children. And you stay strong, and you always find something to stay strong when you have lupus, because if not, it'll win. I know a few people that it's basically beaten, but you just stay strong and you fight it. And I still fight it every day. Is lupus hereditary? Yes, it is. Lupus is more primarily found in women than men, though men do get lupus, but it is primarily a female disease. I try to have my children tested every year, without them knowing, of course, just to make sure that they don't have the markers. There's different types of tests to do with lupus. It's not just a simple blood test. You have it's 4 to 5 tests done over a period of time. If you have the first marker, then they'll test you for a different one called an ANA, which is an anti-nuclear antibodies test. If you pass that one, then they'll test your DNA, and it's called rDNA, to see if you have any markers. There, you'll check your inflammatory process to see if there's any markers. So far, there are no markers in my children, but that doesn't mean anything. You can have adolescence onset, but it's most prominently known as adult onset lupus. Normally, between 25 and 35 years old is when you'll find it. But they can start showing symptoms at a younger age. I mean, I was 15 when I started showing symptoms of lupus. But, you know, wow, 25 years ago, they didn't really have those types of, those blood tests and, those things don't happen to us. Well, it does. It does happen.
What do you do to get your children tested?
Blood test. Usually every year, the doctors say we need to run a CBC. That's code for a mom, meaning, yeah, let's just do a lupus blood test. It's a simple blood test. It's the same blood test as if you're taking blood out of your arm. It's just a different tube, that's all. Most of the time they don't even know it. Now that they're older, my youngest is almost 17, and my boys are basically 20 and 21 years old. I have them have them tested when they have their physicals, and it's important to me. So we make sure that they stay healthy and we keep fighting it.
Do your constant headaches have anything to do with your lupus?
Yes. I get these constant headaches because the lupus has attacked the muscle fibers and nerve fibers in my head and my neck to the point that it has deteriorated my spinal cord, and it has caused occipital neuralgia, which is nerve damage of the occipital nerve in the back of your neck, and therefore will send these horrific shooting pains into your head because the nerves are overfiring and because they don't know any better. And I had my last headache lasted for 8 weeks, and it's finally eased up.
What did you used to do to get rid of the headaches?
Not a lot. I had to get injections. The injections, yes. I would get roughly 100 to 128 injections in my face every single week just to get rid of the pain for a little while. They would open my mouth up, put a needle into the back of the muscle in the back of your mouth on both sides and inject there. And they would inject on the jaw, they would inject in the temple, and then they would go into the back of the skull, which I still get those ones, and then they go down into your neck and shoulders just to ease up the pain. Those usually last, if I'm lucky, 4 hours. But it does make them a little better as the days progress. Unfortunately, when you have a flare-up, you just hope and pray just for a little bit of relief. Some days you get it, some days you don't.
What's the best day like for you when you don't have a flare-up?
Oh my goodness. The best day is probably sunny, 75 degrees. I love the heat, by the way. Love the heat. 75 degrees, sunny, nice breeze. Those are good days. Because even if you ache, you can't help but smile. It's been a really long time, unfortunately, since I've had a pain-free day. I don't actually remember a day that I've actually been pain-free, but I've come close. The legs don't ache as much, the back doesn't ache, and there's only a little tinge of a headache, which I've had a little bit of those the past few days. The weather's been really good to me for the past few days, so it's amazing what the weather can do to somebody who has lupus, Lyme, fibromyalgia, any of those invisible illnesses. It's amazing what the weather can do.